This veteran was screened today by the nurse as part of the beginning of a routine pharmacy appointment scheduled. They've accepted a warm handoff to PCMHI. They've answered yes to having thoughts about not wanting to wake up, and yes to having actual thoughts of death by suicide. Yes on having a plan on how they might act on killing themselves, and no to having intent, working out details, or having any past preparatory behaviors or suicide attempts.
I appreciate your honest answers to these questions. I'm going to ask you to tell me a little bit more about these thoughts that you've been having so I can understand them better and kind of understand what's going on. I know it's not exactly the reason you're here today, but it is important. I want to make sure we're connecting you with the most appropriate treatment and keeping you safe. Any questions before we get started?
Are you going to try and lock me up if I talk about it? I still have a lot of questions about my medications that I need answers to.
Believe it or not, the issue of suicidal thoughts comes up quite a bit. That's why we ask these questions. But I've rarely seen a situation where involuntary hospitalization comes up. The main concern is making sure that we are offering you the right kind of help. It will only take a few extra minutes, and we will make sure you have enough time to answer all your medication questions as well.
Okay, good. I'm not sure what more information you want about it. This is just how I am, and I've had these thoughts kind of off and on for as long as I can remember.
Well, when was the most recent time you had thoughts about killing yourself?
Hmm, last week, I guess.
Can you tell me what was going on last week around that time that you had these thoughts?
Well, I've been talking to my sister about plans for the holidays, and she and I got into this argument, so I thought that it might be better for everyone if I just wasn't here anymore.
Well, that sounds pretty stressful. The holidays can be difficult for a lot of people. When you're struggling this way and having these thoughts, do you ever think about a plan of how you would end your life?
I mean, I guess I would just use my gun. Maybe I shouldn't tell you that. Are you going to tell me that I have to get rid of my gun?
No, not at all. But that does help me understand better how I might help you. Thank you for your honesty. Has there ever been a time when you were having these thoughts and you actually made preparations for ending your life?
No, it's always just kind of been thoughts. I couldn't do that to my kids.
Okay. Sometimes it is helpful to think about what you are feeling or what you're experiencing and what's going on in your life when you notice thoughts of suicide or when they're getting worse. Any idea what could possibly be contributing to your thoughts of suicide?
Well, the constant pain in my back doesn't help anything, and the meds you're giving me don't work much. Also, I guess the holidays and winter time in general are just difficult for me for just a whole lot of reasons.
Okay. I mean, those are definitely things that can contribute to an increased depression and thoughts of suicide. You mentioned before that you don't feel like you could ever really go through with it because you couldn't do that to your kids. I'm interested in hearing more about those things, what we call protective factors. Can you think of any others?
Well, my elderly mom lives nearby, and she counts on me to help with the things around her house, grocery shopping, and all that stuff. There's no one else who can do it, so if I wasn't around,
I really appreciate your honesty in sharing all the information with me today. I know it can be hard to talk about at times, but it will help us know how to better help you and get you connected with additional support if needed. We never want you to feel like you have to go through these struggles alone. Is there anything else you can think of that might be helpful for me to know that maybe I forgot to ask?
no, not really that I can think of.
Okay. Well, one thing I want to go back to before we move on is just having a quick discussion about your gun. I want to ask a couple of questions about where you keep it and who has access to it and whatnot.
Well, it stays on the shelf in my closet. I don't keep it loaded, but a box of ammo is kind of sitting right next to it. No one except me and my wife kind of know where it is.
Okay. Well, the reason why I ask is because studies have shown that if you're able to decrease the time between a person's suicidal thoughts and their ability to access lethal means, such as a gun, the less likely they are to die by suicide. Would you be willing to discuss ways to increase this time without actually getting rid of your weapon?
I guess so. I keep it on hand because, I mean, you never know, but I've never felt like I had to use it where I live now.
Okay, and that makes understood. One option would be to ask your wife to secure it at any location where only she's aware of. Or if that is not something that's doable, you could consider storing the ammunition in a location that is away from the gun. Even small things like that build in the extra time. Another thing you may not be aware of is that the VA offers free gun locks to those who might benefit from utilizing them.
Okay, yeah, I can probably store the ammo someplace else, and if you have a gun lock, I would take it. My wife has been saying for years that it would be a good idea to have one in case the kids ever come across it.
Perfect. I'll enter a gun lock console today and they will send you one in the mail, or perhaps you can stop by VAPD on the way out and they can give you one. You only have the one gun, is that correct?
Yeah, you can just have them send it to me in the mail.
No problem. I noticed that you have a completed suicide safety plan in the past with your mental health provider. Do you still have a copy of that plan, and would it be beneficial for us to take a look at it and update it today?
I still have it, and I feel like I've been here long enough already. I don't think I need it today.
Okay. I noticed that you're scheduled to see your regular mental health provider in about 2 weeks. Maybe talking about your safety plan during that appointment could be something you guys might talk about. Do you have the date and time for that appointment?
I didn't even know that was coming up.
It's in 2 weeks from today at about 9 o'clock. Does that date and time work for you? Do you feel it'd be beneficial for you to meet with somebody sooner?
No, that should be about fine. I'm good until then.
Okay. So just so you're aware, the VA also has open access mental health clinic. You could always come in as a walk-in. You could call to speak, or you could call to speak with somebody same day if you need support in the meantime. There's also the Veterans Crisis Line or emergency services if you need immediate help. Have you ever utilized the crisis line?
I haven't, but I have a magnet with the numbers and all this stuff on my refrigerator.
Great. Again, I really appreciate your willingness to discuss these things with me. I know it can be hard. Any questions or anything else you'd like to discuss before we move on?
No,